Okay, I'm back. It's the Abstractionist. I am going to do part one of however many parts it's going to be. What decks are leaving my collection, what decks I'm keeping. Basically the ones that I kept are upstairs, but I'm going to go rifle through these and these bins and see if I want to keep them or not. So we just, basically I'm going to pick them up. And it's going to be like a yay or nay. So, kind of like KonMari-esque. So, it's this deck. It's basically like a deck from Lamucci Design. Basically, I'm on the fence. And the only reason why is I like the size, I like the negative space. I just don't know if I'm gonna, if Rider-Waite Smith or any system, particularly something that I'm like craving, you know. So it's a maybe. Next we have the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. I just thought about this. And I was like, yeah. And only because I kind of just want to like put stuff together and figure out some like rituals and stuff like that, and I feel like it would be good for that, so that's a yes. Next up is the Thoth Tarot. This is a nay. It's not going to stay with me, only because it's so small. If it was larger, I would definitely keep it. And I'm kind of mad because at Barnes & Noble this is $24.95, and then when I open it up, the book is this large, but the cards are palm size. So they're like a travel size, and I was like, what the fuck, yo? Like, what the fuck? I was so mad. I was hot. Because I was just like, really? Like, all this space? And I get it because it's the book. But like, also, y'all could have just made the book smaller. Like, and made it like thicker instead. Like, I was just like, what a waste of real estate. And I just also would like a larger edition of this. If I were to get it, a larger edition. So this is finna go. I have like no space to put these things. Sacred Cycles. I'm like looking, kind of like showing you guys a little bit. Maybe only because I like the idea of moon work. So for myself, basically, if you don't know, I have PCOS, and I like working through my womb issues and stuff like that. So this is a maybe. This is maybe only because I would like to explore like the feminine aspect, and I kind of feel like this is leaning like a maybe no, only because I don't think I mind looking up the people in here. You got like Green Tara and Our Lady of Guadalupe, like, or Guadalupe, Inanna, stuff like that. But I'm also not into the Divine Feminine heavy anymore. I'm not into that branch of sacred spirituality, even as I like exploring womb stuff. Which is so funny because I think people would have this idea that like, yeah, like you would want to be into that. This is, I don't even know what deck this is, to be honest. Pathways. Luckily I kept the things in there. Pathways. This is a yes, because it's kind of abstract and I kind of like just reading it, and I like that it's one of the few that is not really oracle or Tarot. It's its own kind of thing. And yeah, the voice of knowledge. That's what it looks like. I say no only because I'd rather just read his work than have cards. I'm sorry, I'm thinking the camera's over here. I would rather read his work as opposed to have these cards. And not that they're bad, it's just, this is the back. They have stuff on the back. Not that they're bad, it's just, I'd rather have, like, his books. Like, I'd rather just read the, like, 4 agreements, the 5th agreement, things like that. So, Vedic astrology deck, maybe. I am not heavily invested in learning Vedic astrology. I just think that I would like to peruse a little bit of what it means. These are the cards. They come in like very different like sections. So you have like a section like houses, a section like planets, because you know Vedic is its own system, elements, it's its own shit. And you know, you may try to signs, you may try to like transpose Western onto it, but that's not how you should do it. It's its own shit and it should be learned as such. So doshas, stuff like that. So I would like it. I'm more interested in it more of like health systems. So I would rather that. So I'm gonna maybe keep it. Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards. This is a straight no. I don't like the artwork. I'd rather get the like the color cards, the ones that have like the colors on it and it just got the word. It's like the Secret Wisdom of Colors or something like that. I'd rather get that deck than use this deck. I just don't like the art. But because I was studying Reiki, I figured like getting something regarding chakras was like very helpful, but I fucking hate the art. Now I will say the messages and stuff like that like do be hitting, like they do hit, like I do be feeling something, but I like aesthetically pleasing decks. This is not one which is aesthetically pleasing to me, and I just kind of feel like you would do better, somebody else would do better with this. So there's that. So it's a no, it's a go somewhere else. The Oracle by Calm Club, this is gonna go. I think what I'll do is kind of just see if there's any archetypal information that I can like glean from this. So it's gonna go, but probably after I study it for a little bit, because I might keep it because it does have some really good like questions on this. So it's, I'm gonna say a maybe. I don't like the quality of the pamphlets. I just feel like it's some shit thrown together. And then I don't like the backs of these being like different. I kind of hate stuff like that. This is like pretty okay. I like the aesthetic of that. But yeah. So maybe, and basically there's a clock running on this. So that was this by Calm Club. Inner Compass, yes, but I gotta order another copy because whoever the fuck I ordered this from on eBay or something like that, I think it was eBay, didn't have all the fucking cards in there. And when I got it, I make sure I count my cards to make sure I got all of them, and I didn't get all of them, and it pissed me off because the actual deck is like $60 fucking. And I just, after having so many experiences on eBay and just kind of realizing that a lot of the listings were like weird listings for like, not to be rude, but like Chinese companies trying to like sell this shit. and low quality or fakes or people just scamming, you know, like not, that's not Chinese, that's not a race thing, but I noticed a lot of the cards had like Chinese letters, like, you know, characters on and stuff like that, or just like people who were scamming, people who didn't take the time to like really study like their cards. They didn't look at them, they just threw some shit up online and just, yeah. So what's gonna happen is I'm probably gonna make this deck into something and then buy a second one that's complete, and then the other decks that they have in this, because I liked the concepts of stuff like of this. So this is gonna stay, but only because there's no way I could give it away or sell it. I would have to literally give it away. Next, Divine Abundance Oracle cards. This is gonna go. I'm not an affirmation kind of person. I don't mind words and keywords and shit like that. I don't mind that. But I kind of just feel like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So yeah. I feel like this is gonna be a no for me, dog, and I'm gonna put it over there. Now, Law of Attraction cards. I might keep this. I might keep this just because it's like so beat up, and it was one of my first decks that I ever got. And so to kind of give that away, it kind of would be like, I don't know. I had to, when I was uber broke, I sold some things that were very valuable to me and important to me, and I made a pact with myself that I would never be so desperate for money that I gave away things which were very important to me. And it's not like family jewels or anything like that. It was stuff that was just important to me, and it was part of my childhood. And even just throwing things away, like I threw away the first printed copy of my book that I wrote when I was 13, and I should have never done that. So with that being said, things that are very sentimental to me, I tend to keep, even if it kind of feels hoarderish, because I give away so much stuff like so frequently that like the shit that I keep is like very minimal. Like, I'm telling you, I keep like a 10 of my shit. Like, there's just certain categories that I also am willing to spend more money and willing to like splurge more. Skincare and stuff like that is one of them. Clothing is not a big one. Fragrance is, even though I don't have that much fragrance. Purses definitely will be in the future, just saying. Tarot decks, art supplies, things that deal with my creativity, I tend to be like, yes, bitch, like you can swipe the card. But like other stuff, not so much. Like clothes, I'm not too pressed. So I'll probably keep this just based on that. Just based on that. The Soul's Journey Lessons cards by James Van Praagh. No, this is gonna go. That's what it looks like. I was drawn to this. I used to watch Piper's Dragon. I think it was like, I think her name was like Prophecy Now or something like that. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I had these. I think it's very simple, and I don't know. I feel like I could do more, you know? Ask the Witch. This is a maybe. And not even because it's a recent purchase. It's just because I'm not someone who, I think I've just kind of gotten out of wanting to connect with energies and like actively seeking to connect with energies, actively seeking to connect with Hecate or Yemaya or Thor or something, you know, like just not. And I would rather just explore this deck than like kind of assign it to that, because it does have like, for the majors, it does have like different like women. Right? So it's a maybe. They don't really go in depth with the major arcanas, which is kind of like, if I remember correctly. No, they do. They have a little page, but then I don't know. I feel like it's not as in depth as I would want it to be. So it does have a guidebook with it, but yeah. So this is a maybe. The Starseed Oracle is a go, I think. I know one of these I wanted to go, so this may not be the one. Oh, it's the Work Your Light. Might as well put these bitches together. It's the Work Your Light that I was like, I think was like, like, this one is more Oracle decky and I don't know, like, I don't know if I want this. So yeah, this is, to not confuse you, this is the Work Your Light, okay, that I'm going through right now, and this is what it looks like. And this is the Starseed Oracle. I think I feel more of an affinity with Starseed because I feel like I have more existential questions that I want to answer. But this is also a maybe. So the Work Your Light is definitely a no. This one is going to be a maybe. If I can find a way to do, I guess maybe Gaia readings or something like that, or something. It's a bigger energy type thing, which is fine because I like reading my planet, which is bigger energy. But yeah. So this is a no. I don't want to hold it any longer. The healing deck, 36 affirmations for mental, physical, and spiritual wellness. I would keep this only because I like the art style of Amy Zerner and Monty Ferber as a collab duo. Like, I really fuck with them. I think their most recent deck, I didn't like the quality when I saw the review or whatever. I think it's just Monty though. I'm like, Monty, what you doing? But yeah, so this, and then it has like words in the back. They stay giving me words and sentences on the back. And I'm like, come on now, I don't need that. Just give me a deck. You know, just give me a deck. Like, we're fine. So yeah, there's that. So am I keeping it? It's a maybe for this. The next one, Shamanic Healing Oracle cards, is a maybe too. Because this one you can have some, you know what, it's a no. I'm gonna be real. There's a few things in here to process, but I don't think I have too much left with this. I think if you liked Aboriginal art, you might find that this like works a little bit better. I don't mind it. I feel like if you're a trauma victim, which I mean technically living is a trauma, then you could probably find it. I will, I guess, look into the artist or the person who created this instead and see if she has any books or, you know, read stuff like that. But yeah, pass it on. I like my decks though, so you know, I appreciate all of my decks. The magical spell cards. I used to watch James Wicca and he always had these. James Wicca 13 or something like that. I think he's still up there. I'm actually gonna look him up after I do this video. This video, because I'm almost done this bin. And he had this by Lucy Cavendish, and he would always mention it and put the box up. And I thought they were cool, and then I got them, and I was like, oh, this is just not me, is it? It's not for me. And I think there's a lot of tarot too. It's just like finding decks and then like letting go of decks as you find that they're not like for you. You kind of just like think about it and you're like, oh wow. I'm also not, I gotta do another video of why I'm revising calling myself a witch, because my thoughts on that have changed too. So yeah, so basically it comes with a guidebook. It has a little spell on the side, and then it has a little bit of, you know, typical explanations of it. It's kind of more of an oracle, right? So it doesn't do like a tarot, like a traditional tarot explanation, but you know, it gives you some practical advice and some encouraging words and shit like that. But again, I don't really do spell work like that, and the spell work that I want to do doesn't really involve shit like that. Next, we have Moonology Manifestation Tarot Oracle cards. I bought this shit because TJ Maxx and Marshalls last year had a bunch of decks, and if you wanted to pay $21, that's cool, but there were decks there that were like $12.99, $14.99, $16.99 for decks that were normally $18, $24. And I mean, why not? But the sad thing is, it's kind of like if you're like me, fighting impulses and demons and shit with your wallet, you just buy a lot of shit that you don't need or want. And I kind of realized, even though I do keep track of the moon, I just don't do it like everybody else does it. Like, I kind of track it through my body and what the fuck I'm feeling. Like, usually around Pisces, I'm always crying. Around Scorpio, I kind of feel like power struggles, or I feel energetically really quiet. Around fire ones, except for Aries, I tend to feel like a sense of purpose, or it gets really to my emotional core. Around Aries, I'm upset about something. I want something to hurry the fuck up. Yeah, I like feel it more than like pull cards for it. So I don't really do any rituals around the moon, even as like a lunar being, right? I'm a Cancer sun. Hold on for a sec. Even as a lunar being, I don't like, yeah, I don't use these. So these are no, they gots to go. They gots to get the fuck up out of here. And just because I don't do any moon lunar type things, I would rather learn about the phases of the moon and stuff like that. And I would rather like to learn about moon mansions, lunar mansions, because in my moon book that I made, I actually had like lunar mansions. I had started to kind of like research that stuff. I'd rather devote my time to that. Everyday Tarot is gonna go. It's falling apart, child. So it wasn't really that well made, if I'm gonna be honest, because after a few uses, the top also broke, and so I had to like not glue it together, but I had to like tape this together so it would stay, because it's plastic, and as you bent the plastic, it would be like very it would become like more and more flimsy, and then eventually it would fall off. But the thing is, because it doesn't have a top like any other top, if you lost this, then your cards will forever just fall out, and you know, who wants that? So this is the deck. I think this is like Biddy Tarot or something like that. Like whoever, I think the lady who runs Biddy Tarot, I think Anthony, I think that's her name, made this. It's a beautiful deck. Like, it's like a pocket size deck, palm size, you know. So that's the back, and this is what it looks like. Really good. I find that it was just never a deck that I used for much. Like, it could help you with like overall situations and stuff like that, but it never really seemed to give actual advice. If you were looking for advice, for me, it just never seemed like it was giving advice. It just seemed like it could give the overall circumstances in which you were feeling, and it could tap into that, like the emotions of a situation, but it never tapped into like the practical advice that you would need to kind of like resolve that. So yeah, and then I just, like I said, I'm leaning more into more more just, I don't know, just deeper, more rooted type decks, and a lot of these are not it. So how many of decks have I kept? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decks, and technically 5. And then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybes. And yeah, it's about 7 and 8, 9, or whatever. Next, the Gilded Tarot, Ciro Marchetti. I would keep this, to be honest. I don't mind it, but I don't read with it like that. Like, I don't read with it like that. I don't really feel like it's my flow. I don't really feel like it does what I needed to do. But it just reminds me of old tarot days when, like, we didn't have that many, like, decks out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know, like, I mean, and I'm saying this as, like, a third, maybe fourth wave, like, tarot, like, kind of person. We didn't really have that many, like, really nice looking fucking decks. You know? It's like a recent thing. Like, decks really did look like this. And they're not bad. You know, you can read with any deck. And I'm pretty sure there's someone out here that fucking rocks with this deck. But I don't. So it's a no. Just because I don't rock with it. Next is Messages from the Ancestors Oracle cards. Stephen Farmer. I just don't like the design of this. And it had the potential. It just, I don't know. I feel like they put this together and they just, the images are kind of like okay, but then some of them just seem like they're extra pixelated. And then I hate this card. Like, I hate this card. I just feel like it's, compared to everything else, it feels so contemporary. And this is what happens when you don't keep, like, any sense of, like, stuff like this. This doesn't look good to me. When you don't keep any sort of congruency amongst the artwork, or consistency amongst the artwork, I guess. I don't know. Then I don't like the borders, but I hate this fucking card. I absolutely hate this card. I feel like it's, like, even though these two cards are very contemporary, there's something about this card that I just really fucking, like, despise. It kind of has its little system going, but I'm not invested in it enough to figure that shit out or to use it. Next is the Sugar Skull Tarot deck. I'm going to put this as a maybe, only because I feel like it's not one that I would use for myself. I would use it for kind of like people who are going through regrets for some reason. For some reason, it picks up a vibe of, like, you talk to your grandparents and they be talking about shit they went through, and it's not like, it's like they had fun and stuff like that, but like it's almost like regrets or paths they should have taken, or how you got here is kind of like an amazing story. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so this is what it looks in the back, this is what it looks in the front. I like it though, but it's just, I wouldn't use it personally. I have no qualms about it being like more of a obviously Latino leaning deck. I have no qualms about that. I actually had a personal, like, a video on Patreon talking about diversity. I'm not someone who's very caught up in diversity. I'm not someone who needs ultra diverse decks, because then, like, every card has someone different. I don't really need that, because I'm interested in the system as opposed to, like, you making, like, a black person or a queer person on the deck. Like, it does nothing for me to have that on there, and I'm being very blunt and very honest. It has nothing, it does nothing for me. Like, I don't care. Like, and honestly, if you're someone who approaches it with that in mind, I probably don't want your deck. And that's just being honest. Like, I feel like by virtue of you making the deck, like, it is what it is, and that's diverse enough. And I kind of don't feel like, I don't appreciate people, like, cherry picking identity. And really, it's just a marketing ploy. Okay. So the Gaia Oracle, this is gonna go, but most likely it'll just be given to someone, because this is a fake deck. And this is what I mean about online being careful, because this deck is by someone I really admire the artwork, Tony Carmen Salerno. And I want to get the actual decks of hers, so I'm going to go on Llewellyn, where I know they exist, real. There's a few cards in here where the art is just not consistent. I just show you some of the art first. Like, I like this art style. It's kind of gloomy, it's kind of sensual, it's kind of you know, hidden, it's kind of mystic. It's when you get to these more pencil-ish drawings that I start to be like, come on, bro, like, you really had this. You could have did more. Like, there's one in here, I think it's Ganesha, that I was just like, even one like this, like, I don't really feel like it fits with the deck. But there's one where I'm just like, this doesn't fit, like, at all. Or it should be like the last fucking card. I don't know where it is, but it, like, there it is, Ganesha. This one doesn't go, like, at all. I feel like it just doesn't go with this entire deck, and I just am very puzzled as to why it's in there. Anyway, this is one of those like fake decks that are out there. I have ideas on fake decks too. I kind of feel like I don't appreciate that, and I think that if you were the one making a deck, you wouldn't want to. It's easy to be like, yeah, well, they're cheaper and stuff like that, but if you were the one making the deck and you created something, you wouldn't want your shit just stolen to be put on there. And that's all I have to say about that. This one is, I don't even know what the deck is called. It's like the cyber deck or something like that. Anyway, I was so mad when I got this deck because I fucking hated this artwork. And to me, it's a deck that, like, low-key got angry that I was disappointed in it. And it has some really interesting ideas, but it's like I haven't been able to access them like the way I would want to. And it's so abstract, and it doesn't come with a book. Like, it didn't come with a book for me. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to keep it. It's a question mark. Because if I do keep it, I guess I can look it up and see if there's like a little booklet or something like that to read. But I'm on the fence. The last ones, because the other two are like playing cards or whatever. And yeah, I want to just stand up. I'm sorry. Can I like do this? I just don't feel like sitting down anymore. The last ones are the Wandering Star. I don't mind this deck. I just, artistically, it's just not my shit. It's like the art style of the other one, like the Ganesha card, but like, yeah, but like keywords, and it has like all of that, and I thought I was gonna fuck with it, but I don't fuck with it, and it just doesn't resonate with me as anything. Again, this was one of them things that I found at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. It's by Kat Pierce. It's an 80 card deck, so if you're interested in buying it, there's that. We have the Earthcraft Oracle. This is also another no. If you didn't know, the Wandering Star was a no. I'm not an oracle person that wants keywords, so unless they're just keywords that are very well thought out. And not that this wasn't, but it just doesn't resonate with me as someone who is starting to lean more into oracle decks. I personally just, apparently he just won't come out. I'm not really so interested in this. Last one, Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. This is a maybe. And the reason why I put it in there is because I didn't know if I wanted to keep this deck. I didn't know if this was, let's turn it like this. I didn't know if I wanted to keep it because I already have like more feminine archetypes decks, and I just I kind of feel like I'm not starving for female representation in my decks anymore, or female archetypes. Like, I'm not so big on them anymore. Like, I have my decks that I'm using and I'm working through. And yeah, so there's that. So this is a maybe if I want to keep it. It probably will pair with something else, and it probably will be personal deck, to be honest. I don't really see myself using this, so this is a maybe. So essentially what I'm definitely sold on are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but really 5. And the ones I'm sold on as of right now: Starseed Oracle, Law of Attraction cards, my Pathways, Self-Care, Sacred Self-Care Oracle, Inner Compass, but a new copy, and the Vedic Astrology deck. I'll do a video on all of the maybes, all of the yeses, all of the nos, but that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I know it was pretty long, you know. So yeah, that's all I got for you. You look the Billy Bass in the corner. It was all the rage when I was a kid, all the rage. All right, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Get ready for like part 2 through 5. I think it's gonna be like a really large series, and I'll see you guys later. Toodles.